Hey, it's Caryn. This is the Coach Business Podcast. You know, when someone's like about to put on a show, like a music show, and they say something like, this one goes out to so and so, and here's why. Well, I'm doing that tonight with my podcast. I was not planning on recording tonight, but something happened in a one on one coaching call today that I had to bring to you because I had to bring it to them. So this one goes out to you, one on one client who knows who you are because you told me to record this and then send it to you. And the rest of us, we just get to listen in and have the benefit of that experience together because of the brave and courageous work of one individual. This person is a coach. They have a business. They coach amazing people. And we were working on newsletters and thinking about how to use a newsletter. And what had come up was a a truth that this person loves to write. But then what was also coming up was that they were not writing and not feeling like writing. And like, I was like, well, what's going on? Like, tell me more. Right. Because when you don't want to take anything as obvious in coaching, nothing is obvious. Everything deserves exploration and the gold is everywhere. So in this case, I'm like, well, what's like, what, why not? Why not be writing? What's going on that you don't love writing right now? And they said something about their newsletter and they used to love it. They don't love it anymore. And I was like, well, why don't you tell me like what's going on? What are the rules you have around writing a newsletter? And here's what's interesting about us humans. We make up rules around so many things that don't actually require rules. And then we live our lives by them, whether they help us or not, whether we need them or not, whether they actually keep us safe or not, potentially when they even keep us small. And this exploration really started from she's like, I feel like I have an upper limit problem around the writing stuff. And if I share with you the rules that this individual had about writing her newsletter to her list, I think this will be really interesting for us, right? So she was not thinking, oh, I'm really holding myself back with these rules, but these rules were in there holding her back. Uh, One is you can't be a human being and have struggles and talk about it. One was you can't send a newsletter until your website's done. One was you have to be a human. So on one side, we can't be human. And on the other side, we have to be human and have struggles. You have to appeal to everyone on the list. You can't write anything that could possibly make anyone unsubscribe. You have to write for everyone. You have to teach something and tell a story. You have to be helpful and interesting. You have to do it weekly. So, first of all, basically, it's a complete lock because if you can't write a newsletter till your website's done and your website's not done, like I'm surprised any newsletters made it out at all, but they did. Some got out, not all of them. Sometimes it kept her stuck. The idea that you can't be a human and struggle, but that you have to share human stuff and be relatable, that's also a lock. How do we not be human and be human at the same time? Nothing's ever going to make it out of the door. We're certainly not going to be able to feel expansive and creative in our writing. So we uncovered all these rules. And what's interesting is, yeah, she hadn't seen him. It wasn't completely clear to her that she was being held back, being kept in a cage of her own making by her mind with all these rules. And once she saw him, then it was clear that she could hold herself to a different standard. But I think what's really interesting is like, what are the rules that we want to have? Like when I think about when I write you on my newsletter list, my main priority is to send you things that are okay for human consumption. And when we checked in more about like, okay, so you have a small business, we've all heard things. Here's why you have a list. Here's why you should write a list. And when someone is running a relationship based business, but they hear a content marketer kind of rule that exists for people who are selling courses, things outside of relationship based business, like I think every business is relationship based, but there's a lot of statistics and like needs that we have from our list. If we're selling courses, we need to have a big list. We need to be launching consistently. Like there's all these things that we have to do because that's the model of the business. But if I'm running a relationship-based business focused on one-on-one coaching, and my primary place that clients are coming from is referral, then my list isn't really a sales tool. It's a nurturing tool. And sometimes I might let people know that things are for sale, but my expectation of what happens there is very different. So now her newsletter is a new place and she gets to talk to those folks in a different way. And the stakes are different, right? We can change the stakes on anything in our business by changing how we think about it, by questioning the seriousness of what's going on. There's a lot of like things that are pretty neutral that feel real high stakes. And I would watch out for those in your business. But we've talked here lately about having an opt-in, a lead magnet, so that you can get people on your list and so that you can connect with them and nurture them. And maybe one day they'll become a client. And it felt really fun to talk about newsletters and the rules we make up about them, because I coach a lot of people on how hard it is for them to write a newsletter. Not because these people don't know how to write, not because it's hard to write a 500-word thing that you send off to people on your list. But what I really want all of us to remember is that our newsletter lists, they are our backyard. This is our party at our house, and you are invited like because we chose to. No one forced you to be here and have all these people over at your backyard barbecue. You chose that. So, how do you want to host them? And yes, you are hosting. And yes, it is your job to decide how the party goes. And that doesn't mean that I can't be like, come on over. We're having ribs and corn and biscuits. And you show up, and I could be like, menu change. It's lasagna night. That's my choice because it's my backyard. It's my party. I get to choose what I serve in my backyard. And you get to choose what you serve to your people. But how you think about what you choose to serve is a big deal. And I want to throw out some thoughts that could be helpful for you. Take them or leave them. One thought that I love to think is my only job is to love them. And think about, how does that thought feel in my body? Like, my only job is to love them. For me, that creates freedom, openness, ease. I can send them anything. I could send you easy recipes to cook on a weeknight. I could send you tips on how to create a new freebie. I could send you a sales email about how to work with me because I can really help you with your coaching business. I could send you a love letter. I could send you what I chose to send one night in December. And this is one that this particular client brought up, saying she actually has this newsletter pinned to the top of her email. And I got a lot of feedback on this one, so I'll bring it up. It was my 12 wishes for you at Christmas. And one of those wishes was, I hope and I wish that one of your posts goes viral so you can really see how much impact it doesn't have and just get back to serving people. Okay. But we get to think whatever we want. So why not think what creates freedom, what opens you up for love, what creates more expansiveness towards your list, towards your business? You can use that thing without any expectation that 3% of the people should buy from you this month. Maybe that will happen, maybe it won't. But what if you let yourself love people? What if you leaned back from the stats and were like, how do I really want this to go? What do I want the experience to be like for my reader? Because I also think it's important to remember the level of intimacy that we have, like you and me right now. I'm in your car with you. I might be in your earbuds on a walk with you. It's just you and me. If only I could just say your one name right here, right? Your first name to you. But it's just you and me. It's not you, me, and the other 1,000 listeners. It's you, me, and that's it. And it's the same thing with the newsletter. Somebody is laying in their cozy bed, they've got their coffee, they're going through their newsletters they like to read, and they choose to open yours and read it and spend 2 minutes of their loungy Sunday morning reading a note from you. That's just between you and them. No one else is there. So remember, like, whether you have 63 people on your newsletter list or you have 10,000, You are still in a very one-on-one relationship. And what I know about coaches is we are good at one-on-one. We get all weird when we think we're talking to hundreds of people or even tens of people. We turn into we get a little weirdo-y. It's okay. It happens to the best of us. But just remember, like, this is truly all these tools are set up so that we can have intimate one-on-one connection with our people, and our people can learn to trust us and then learn if we're the person to help them or not. And then they move on from there. It's like, yeah, I'm going to stick around, or no, she's not the one for me. And that's okay. But you're not going to get out of here without me throwing some love in your direction. And I hope that's true for all of us. And I just really welcome you to think about, what are my rules? Think about the area of your business right now that's sticky. And then I want you to ask yourself, what are the rules that I'm making up around this? What are the unwritten rules that I am living by that are directing my productivity around this one thing? And then decide if you like them. Are they helping? Do you need to keep them? What are they for? And if you get rid of some, what opens up for you? What's possible without those rules? Do you want to make new rules, or do you want to have no rules? I think you get to decide. This is your business, right? No one else is in charge but you. All right. So this was an example for the client who I'm dedicating this episode to, of how to use client stories in your marketing, because that's also something we were working on today. How do you use the work you do behind closed doors and then bring it to marketing in a useful way without throwing your clients under the bus, using their names, using identifying information? This is one way, right? So I'm using something from a session that I was inspired to share with you. I'm using some of this person's specifics, but those specifics could have been for any number of hundreds of thousands of coaches. And I'm rolling with it and sharing it with you here. The other thing is, I can say, if you're a coach and you're coming up against walls, blocks, ceilings of potentially your own making in your business, and you want help to get through them, out of them, that's when you reach out to me. That's what I'm really good at. I'm really good at helping coaches with their businesses. So you can always take what you work on with clients and turn it into really fantastic content that potentially inspires people. My one expectation with this podcast is that it makes you look with a little bit more discernment at one area of your business and potentially improve it to the benefit of the people who you're here to serve. I'm down for that. All right. If you have a coach bestie who struggles with their newsletter, I hope you'll share this with them. That's what it's for. All right. And to my client, thank you for the inspiration. I hope that this is helpful on multiple levels. And I can't wait to read your next newsletter. Okay. Have a great day. Take good care of yourself and your clients. It's getting a little wild out there, but we can take care of each other.